Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in to our weekly market update. Today I've got Kayla and Mel here with me. How are you guys?
Morning. Good, thank you. Pretty good.
Now everybody's probably worrying about being washed away after yesterday's events in Hillville and many parts of the valley. So we've got lots of tenants that we're trying to assist, and our thoughts are with, I suppose, after yesterday, who have certainly got some areas that have been flooded that have not been flooded before.
Yes.
So certainly a different, a few surprises, unfortunately, for a lot of people, where some of the common areas that do flood didn't flood, and some of the areas that don't did. So it's certainly a different watercourse, especially in Hillville, than what we've seen before that's been taken. So certainly a few owners and tenants in a bit of despair and a lot of recovery work to be done.
Pretty stressful because, like you said, definitely areas where everybody usually would feel like they're pretty safe.
Yep.
Because even with the weather system that it is, wouldn't normally even those areas have flooded, so it was pretty unusual. And really sad for people who was dealing with a lot of stress today, and property managers who are dealing with a lot of stress today.
I guess big thanks going out to the SES and council
Absolutely.
yesterday. A lot of the work they did with a lot of the properties to save a few from being flooded, and certainly a big help. And I guess it's a tricky situation, especially for some of our elderly tenants that we're in. To have all of those people supporting was a great thing, but I guess it's probably something to talk about. I mean, times like this is something where we often get the scenario in relation to insurances, and it's probably worth talking about what's common. I guess that's a question in relation to what does an owner usually have insured and what does a tenant have insured, and who's responsible for which. So I might put that one a question to you, Kayla, if you want to.
Well, majority of the time, we speak to our landlords and tenants about having the right insurance. So for landlords, it obviously is covering, the floor coverings, curtains and things like that, with regards to their contents insurance. But for tenants, when it comes to their belongings, they should have their own contents insurance to cover them in this regard. Like in this one, it doesn't usually happen where tenants are going to have to put through something, but from today, definitely they're going to be, So just making sure that you do. So
anyway, after all that, not so exciting news, let's talk about up until Saturday, I guess, what's happened in the market this week, and might kick off, Mel. How are the open homes and the activity?
Even though Saturday the weather still wasn't great, Nick, it was pretty soggy down at my open home in Gardens Bay, but I still had 4 groups through, and Kylie had an open home on Sunday. Even in that dreadful weather, she had 3 groups through, so she had to take an extra long route to get to her open home. There were a lot of roads closed, but she was determined to have it, and she did, and got some people through and some pretty strong interest. And Jordan had a few opens on Saturday as well, and still had good turnouts. So regardless of the middle of winter and pretty dreadful weather, we had some turnouts at our opens, which is a good sign for coming into spring, I think.
It's always a tricky, interesting 3-4 week period right now, where all of the kind of winter sports are finishing up before summer things start, and people actually do have a bit of free time as well, and they're probably not heading off to their shacks and things because the weather's like this. So,
what else could you do on the weekend other than look at an open home if you weren't shoveling water? I spent a lot of Sunday shoveling trucks to stop the water getting into my house too, so I think we were all there on Sunday. That's right.
But it is a time where if you've been super busy and you've not had any hours at all for 6 months over the winter in a daylight hour to look at a house because you've been at work or kids' sport or your sport or something, then all of a sudden we're like, oh, hang on, it's Saturday and I don't have anything to do. I might actually be able to find time to sell
Great time to beat the market too if you come on in this next little period before everybody else comes on in spring, when everybody floods the market. If you come on in the next little bit, you'll beat them all. Get the buyers.
Mel's tip, get on in September, not October and November when everyone else is. applications, properties. We've had some big properties out there with lots of applications. What's going on? Where's all the money coming from, and how are we getting so many tenants and high quality tenants in high price properties?
It's crazy at the moment. There's been a bit of a shift in our market, so the lower properties are not getting as many applications. We're still getting a few, but not as many, whereas the high properties at the 550 mark, we're getting inundated. I had 9 groups through a 550 property last week and submitted 10 applications to the owner. So,
all people that you'd approve.
Oh, absolutely. That owner is going to struggle.
Yeah.
So it's a big surprise because usually the high price properties take that a little bit longer just because of the affordability, but at the moment the people that I process their applications can all well and truly afford it, so that owner gets to pick a good application, but hopefully got a bigger property. There's it
makes people think who are traditionally just buying the units and the like brick house on a house block kind of scenario, where our common, I guess, bulk of tenants are strong applications, better return on investment. It actually is giving an indication for some of those mid to higher end properties that, well, the rent return isn't too bad if we're getting
there just used to be a cap. There was a real cap on the price you can get, and then now it's changing. So good to see for people who would like to come buy one of those good price.
Lots of families
properties that are out there.
And from I guess, do you feel that's, I guess when we're talking about housing affordability, do you feel that's a choice? Like, is it people choosing something nicer, or is it because they're being forced to spend that much? Or do you feel like, how many of those do you think would be choosing to spend $600 a week versus applying for something at $450 versus?
There's a few in that category where they're choosing because there's not much else available and they have to pay a little bit more. But then there's also a lot of other people who currently have a lease until next year and are choosing to break lease because they want this kind of property.
And also house to live in.
So there was a huge range of, through those 10 applications. Some had sold and are now looking for something just and to get them by until they buy again, or like people wanting to upsize and have a little bit more space. So there's definitely a vast category of people out there looking at the moment. So which is good to see.
Anyway, interesting. But new properties, we've got many coming up this week.
We've got a couple coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we've been having a few appraisals last week, so hopefully we'll have a few more coming up.
That's good.
So it'll keep us busy for the interim, but I'm happy to have a little bit of a break to deal with these files at the moment.
It's going to be a busy week anyway. So, all right, thanks guys for tuning in to our market update. We will catch you all next week. Hopefully we've all